Here we
They
are.
were live.
Once again for week 86. My goodness. Happy Thanksgiving, early
Hey,
Thanksgiving,
Bobby,
everybody. Yes, sir.
if it's week 86, does that mean it's the end because we're 86ing it?
Oh my goodness.
Well,
Drop
we
the
already
mic.
sent out next week's email, so little difficult, little late now.
Yeah, late in the game. So we've got some beautiful wines, beautiful people to enjoy the wines with tonight. Not just the lovely panel that we have here, but also your beautiful faces out there in Facebook land. So tonight, week 86, Thanksgiving wines to pair with a plethora of different ideas for Thanksgiving. But tonight, our panel, we have Dr. Richard Becker, our owner, amazing man. We have John Leahy, our winemaker, does an amazing job with our wines. We have Kaylin that does all this amazing stuff for us as well. Myself, Bobby Totten, the wine club director, and some beautiful wines to share with y'all tonight, which we are going to start off, I believe. I don't know. We haven't gone. So we got 2017 Jolie Rosé, I believe, that we're going to start off with first.
That's where I've
Or
started.
2018. 18. Yeah, 18. Different vintage. Yeah.
It's good.
Then the 15 Prairie Rotie. And then the 2018 Petite Sirah Reserve. So that will be the lineup. And then I'll just hand this back over to Dr. Becker for some beautiful, enlightening words for this wonderful holiday season.
I wish I had them, but still 100,000 new cases a week in our country. We're not, the monster is still in the room, and it's going to be until we get the vaccinations up that this thing's going to go away. But again, hats off to all the people on the front line who would like this to have ended many months ago, and if not, they haven't quit or closed the door or taken a new job, and just total admiration for them. Thank you, and a treat to get to taste these wines that are good with turkey. I just got a great text from Will who's I think maybe tasting the Jolie ahead of us, and sent me a note, great with turkey. So I was proud of that. And let's take the wine there, but just thank you everybody who's protected us and fought this battle for us.
I have to agree, sir. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Bobby, why don't you lead us off with that Jolie? I came late to the game. I've been prepping food for tomorrow this afternoon, so I actually worked pretty late. I didn't open this until about 30 minutes ago. It's just now starting to open up a little bit. So if you wouldn't mind leading us out on this.
Right. So, I mean, I think I stole this off the bar in the tasting room. So
It's been open for 2 days, Bobby.
Right. Yeah. It's so open right now. The nose, I get a lot of like cranberry,
Yes.
a lot of cranberry notes just right there, just fresh, bright, jammy cranberry. So like cranberry jam. Some floral notes, a little bit of rose petal, some strawberry.
Strawberry's amazing with this, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen so much strawberry in wine until I started tasting wines that John has made. But John has got it. He must have a strawberry barrel somewhere that he just gives it this a little bit, and
It's the
strawberry. I mean, this is
yeah, it's the strawberry high C soda that we keep in the back.
From Petite.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the palette is just amazing, just so rich, and the depth and a lot of layers to it. So, I mean, definitely get a little bit of almost some herbal characteristic that just kind of follows right on the finish, almost like a red tea leaves, like almost like a red tea, but beautiful.
well.
What y'all think? How about you?
We agree. We're just lapsing into admiration for what you're saying. And Kayla, what do you think?
Oh.
I'm muted. I'm sorry.
Mm.
I think it smells fantastic. I'm picking up a bit of like candied fruit, maybe candied raspberry, things along those lines. Maybe even like candied cranberries or sugar frosted cranberries. A bit of floral components. But I would say on the palate, I'm definitely picking up the tea that Bobby was talking about. Maybe a hint of watermelon or something along those lines.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's beautiful. I don't know if maybe a bit of like cherry sauce, but there's some cherry to it. It's just a really lovely wine.
I'm amazed that it's lasted this long, quite frankly, as a rosé. It's got a great depth of nose. It's it is darker than the traditional Salomon rosé, but the phenolics in this just keep going.
John, there was a wonderful event maybe about 20 years ago at Culinaria when chef from La Cantera took maybe a 30-pound black diamond watermelon, hollowed it out, filled it up with our Provençal, and put a spigot in the bottom that he could open and close it. And speaking of essence of the watermelon, there it was. It was just amazingly good.
Wow.
I feel like that sounds like a really good party, and I'm sad I wasn't there.
It kind of sounds like the road parties we used to have when we were teenagers. I'm just saying.
These were advanced teenagers, but
Right.
but it was still good.
The Jolie is always. I'm very happy with the Jolie. I'm still happy with it. So Bobby, thank you for choosing these wines, because this is going to go great with tomorrow's dinner. Whether you guys are doing a traditional turkey dinner or ham or, roast beef or whatever, this is going to go very, very well, I think, all the way around.
But John, talking about, should this be over the hill as a rosé from 2018?
It should. Yeah.
I think it's improving. I mean, I think it's better every time I've tasted it.
That's the funny part about it. I mean, it really is a rosso almost. It's a 20. This is the 2017 or 2018? 18. Okay. Yeah. So the fact that it's going to last another year plus is kind of amazing to me. We do have the 2019 in bottle ready to go, but it's like, well, still enjoy this one. We did two of these varietals. We did actually almost all of this, not almost all, I said a majority of this was Saunier, and then two of the varietals were direct pressed for the 18. And we got a little more color, as you can see. There's a little more color than most rosés. It's still rosé by classic definition, but so there is a little bit more structure to it than a lighter bodied rosé. Now the 2019 is almost the opposite sister. The 2019 is a very light, very delicate. It still has structure to it, but it's a much more delicate wine than this one. So I love the fact this is lasting. Now I did try the 2019 about 3 or 4 weeks ago, because it had been in bottle for a number of months, and I wanted to make sure it was okay. And that is just a beautiful fruit forward rosé. So when we get into that, which we should be transitioning into that soon, probably right after the first of the year.
Right.
But this is going to be a great holiday wine all the way around. I tell you what, Doc, one of the things that I have been absolutely the proudest of and most amazed are the structured red wines that we're able to make here in Texas.
Oh,
and there are a variety of reasons for it, and we have gone into those time and time again. But I flat out for my money, having made wine on the West Coast and here, there isn't a wine I can't compete with Texas fruit. So I think that is an easy way to sum it up.
This sounds a little heady, but the truth of it is, I think that these reds really stand on their own as from a distinct part of the country. And if you line them up with Bordeaux and with Napa and other places, they have an individual signature that really is remarkably different. And so when people are tasting them, if they're drinking Napa Cab, they're different, but they're also different from the great cabs from other places. And I think we have a chance to create a standalone entity, a Cabernet from the high plains of Texas.
Oh, I agree with you. Absolutely, absolutely, and we should. And you know, honestly, when more people get on board, as far as in our industry locally, you know, they start to wake up to the fact that there's nothing to be apologetic about. You know, in the Texas wine industry, they still taste like Cabernets. You have a, you know, there's a distinctive cab version of that, but you're right, we are standalone as far as regional. We have a very regional distinct edge, and I think that's something that we can all work towards. And it's funny to me, from the background, from the back of the house kind of thing, talking with other producers, you know, and going to our meetings that we do, and listening to in the last decade, starting from always talking about how it's like this to now, this is Texas. That conversation is starting to change now. It's starting to be more, this is an example of Texas wine, instead of, oh, this is like a wine from, you know, so, and that's what I mean about apologetic. I mean, people aren't up there going, sorry, I made this good wine. So I think we've come a long way in the decade that I've been here.
Yeah.
So very small amount of time compared to the.
Yeah, fabulous.
Okay. You know, it's going to come down eventually, and I'm not going to let you off with this all goes with turkey dinner. So,
But I was
you have to,
planning for turkey dinner.
the caveat tonight is you have to choose a side dish that this wine will go with. So think about that.
Oh, wow.
Traditional or otherwise, it's going to have to be a side dish. We all know they'll go with the bird, but you're going to have to choose a side dish. So keep that in mind. And don't worry, Kaylin, I'm going to pick on you first.
The
All
dressing, yeah.
Done. Well, Dr. Becker stole mine already. So.
No, you can come up with another one. What kind of dressing? Does it have chestnuts in it? Is it sage and stuffing? You know, cornbread is a white bread. I mean, there's lots of dressings out there.
Questions. Robert
Yes.
says rolls, and I agree with Robert as well.
Robert's right.
Yeah.
Golly.
So alcohol in this,
That's
about
funny.
14.2 round.
I'm sorry?
Alcohol content on this, 14.2.
Oh, actually, just a second. Let me get my app up here. I left the bottles. I'm in my wife's office, and outside of the bar area where the bottles are, there are hordes of Genghis Khan are sitting out in our dining room right now. So 18 Jolie. Let me get the alcohol content for you. Why, the alcohol is, it's over 14.5%. So.
Doesn't taste it, does it? No.
No. I looked at the alcohol on the labs and I was like, I won't tell you what went through my mind, but it suffice it to say, are you really? I did not taste the heat.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope you're keeping track of the Facebook stuff, because I've missed jumping onto the Becker Facebook broadcast. And
I've got it in the background.
okay.
Rolling. That's why I mute myself at the start, is so we don't end up with feedback. And then I every single time think, oh, remember to unmute yourself. Never do.
Right.
Best of intentions.
Okay, I'm on now, so I can watch. I apologize, but I love the name Bo Bryant. That's really nice.
That's cool.
That is a family friend of mine. He's a good egg.
Yes, so the bottle does say 14.2. The alcohol is 14.5. We're well within the allowable variance on there. Yeah. So yeah. The alcohol is 14.5. We're well within the allowable variance on there. Yeah. So yeah.
You're in Facebook.
You know what?
You have to mute the Facebook video, otherwise it does that. That's why I always end up muting myself.
Right?
To prevent that.
The Facebook video wasn't playing, so I'm just taking it off. So there you
Smart
go.
plan. It was just playing in the background for you to hear and us to hear.
Yeah, and we're hearing everybody.
Hey, maybe I could like set up 4 or 5 iPads and we can get this whole reverberation going on.
That would probably be so good.
That'd be awesome. I'll put my phone on and then
Yeah, right. Shall we move on to the Prairie Rotie? Because I'm sorry, guys, I'm loving this Prairie Rotie. And I
Oh, yeah.
really want to
It is delightful. And I usually tell people that this is one of, in my opinion, the most overlooked wines on our wine list because it's the very first wine listed. And I think people get excited as they look down, the list of 15, 17, 19 red wines and think, oh, well, I'm just going to move on down there. And they skip right over this gem.
Yeah. I guess we're going to have to come up with another Prairie Rotie here soon, huh?
Is it about time?
Yeah, it's about time. I think we're almost out. I'm just getting onto the specifics on
John,
the.
what's the blend?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Doc, because there's only 60 different components. No,
No, that was the Jolie.
the blend is Merlot. There's Mourvèdre, Carignan, a little bit of Cab, and there is a tiny amount of Barbera in there. About
So it's
3%.
what percentage Merlot?
37.
37. Okay.
Yeah, and then Mourvèdre is next highest at 25, and then the Carignan's at 25 as well. So, and then just a little bit of Barbera and Cab in there.
Well, this is down the road of the GSM, somewhat, and which I think John just won every conceivable medal, double gold, a saddle. I mean, I think he's the mayor for a day in Houston. I don't know what else.
It was indeed, and and I think it actually became the Secretary of Agriculture for a day in the state of Texas. So, Sid, I'm really sorry that the wine took over your job for a day, buddy.
I'd like you to be governor for a day, John. That's what we really.
Well, we're working up to it, but
yeah.
we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. No, it did very, very well. We actually did very well, and I would like to brag on that for a moment because our winery got the best Texas winery at the Houston Rodeo. Now, that may not sound impressive to some who are joining us, but allow me to expand upon that and how that happens. It is a point system. You have to have the most Texas wines entered into the competition with the most golds of those Texas wines to win, to get enough medals, the most medaled wine, and it has to be all Texas. And I would just like to address at this point in time, I'm feeling a little rambunctious. So there have been, if you have ever wondered whether Becker produces Texas wine, the answer to that is yes. We produce the most Texas wine in the state. We purchase the most grapes. We make the most Texas wine. And we make the best Texas wine in the state of Texas, hands down. Now my internet, did you see that? My internet went unstable.
Yeah.
But, John, when you say we, I'm really pleased to be included in that.
Well, we do a good job. We can't do it without everyone. That's the thing.
Sure about that. You
No.
might be able-
I have a bumper sticker that says wine is not a spectator sport. I just want you to know that my philosophy does not extend past 12 words. So this, do you remember when we first bottled this? This went shocky and then it went kind of muted and then people ignored it for over a year. It was just like this wine that was just, and then it just came out as a powerhouse. And that was really something to show that sometimes wines can go into bottle shock for quite a long time. If you're interested in shipping a wine to someone as a friend or a gift for a birthday or special occasion, make sure you get it there in plenty of time, at least 2 weeks ahead, so that it has time to stabilize. But when we bottle wines, that's one of the biggest concerns. And look at that handsome man on that front of that label.
This is a picture that was in many post offices, as you all know.
Yeah, yes. And
That's what people have mentioned in the tasting room.
So that I was getting a haircut when I was 18 or 19, and Tony Bell was sitting there wanting to get on to Abilene. Why anyone would want to get on to Abilene is unclear to either one of us, but that's where that came from. Very funny.
Well, but you didn't give the full story. So tell them why you had to stop to get the haircut. This is
Well,
what
my
I
father thought my hair, my hair probably looks exactly as it does now, but that he thought it could be a little bit shorter, I'm sure. So I was trying to make a good impression and a better impression. And so I said, Tony, we've got to stop in Goldthwaite, Texas.
Goldthwaite.
We passed a barbershop, and so that's a barbershop pose.
Wow.
Whoever thought this would be on a wine label, 50 years, I hate to say it, gosh, it is 50 years. Or more, it's probably maybe 60 years. And, crazy.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
So Prairie Rotie inspired by Côte Rôtie,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so since these grapes aren't growing on the hillsides, they're in the prairies of Texas, the sun-drenched prairies of Texas, right?
That's the idea. Yeah, the sun-drenched, Côte means the slope, the shoulder of the Roan River, where the great Côte Rôties are grown, and my position is the Perdalis doesn't have a steep shoulder, so we went for sun-drenched prairie, and it's still confusing. Maybe we should just call it GSM and go forward. I don't know.
But we have a GS.
We do. And talking about the story, I think people that have a history with wine, they enjoy that.
Well, and I think it's really helpful for people who, there are many people that are wanting to learn more about wine, and most people start off knowing, Burgundy and Bordeaux, and they're familiar with those terms and regions and ideas behind them. But I think that there's a lot of people just miss the Rhone region of France and don't know too much about it. And especially with it taking off or varietals from Rhone taking off in Texas, it's a wonderful talking point. And also to introduce them to things. I run into so many people that I say something about, the Rhone region of France, and it just right over their head. And then I say Chateauneuf de Pop, and they go, "Oh, I drink that regularly." I'm like, it's from there. And more specifically, but yes. And I think it helps give people an idea of like a sense of place for what we're trying to like maybe stylistically emulate with this wine.
Right.
Because GSM is just grapes. It doesn't have a place.
A lot of Chateauneuf de Pop character, John, don't you think?
It does indeed. And I think the next one, because when we first made this, we did not have a lot of the Rhone varietals that we have now were just being planted and coming online. So for this, this vintage, and now we have Syrah, we have Mourvèdre, we have Grenache, we have Cinsault, we have, Counois, we have, though Carignan is not a Rhone varietal necessarily, since it's from Spain. No, Carignan is not. So I hate to disappoint everybody. Neither is Petite Sirah, or as the French call it, de Rief, even though the Americans think it is. But we have a lot of really brilliant Rhone varietals. We've got some Grenache Noir growing in the back vineyard on our estate. We're planting a few more varietals over the next few years with our vineyard expansion. So we're having this brilliant idea that we're a Bordeaux house that's heavily invested in Rhone varietals. But I absolutely love the Rhone, and I couldn't agree with you more, Kaylin. If France and the wine varieties were making up a human being, the heart would be Cabernet, the free spirit would be Champagne, the intellect would be, the Burgundy, but the absolute deep spirit of the person is Rhone. If you don't know Rhone, then you are missing out on a journey that will take you to absolutely wonderful places.
Every
and the
time I've
Rhones
been
in Texas are
it's been amazing. Yeah, just wonderful. I agree. Yeah.
And if you would like to join us in June, we're taking a cruise through the Rhones. and we're going to have a lot of fun.
I think so.
Bobby, you need to tell us about the Roan Cruise.
It's coming.
Oh.
It's coming. Yeah. June 22nd, I believe.
30
30th.
through July 8th. Yeah, so we'll be doing the early portion in Switzerland for a couple of days, and then we'll head into we'll start off outside of Dijon, so the tail end of Burgundy, and then we'll hit the Rhone. So it's going to be a beautiful thing. Absolutely.
Excited.
Okay. So does anyone want to wax eloquent more about this wine, or are we getting any questions about this, Kaylin?
No, we're getting a lot of happy Thanksgiving commentary, and people are really enjoying the wine and are excited to have it with their Thanksgiving meals if they're not pre-gaming Thanksgiving with turkeys right now. And I appreciate that as well.
Oh yeah. Tonight is going to be a lot of prep work. We are not doing the traditional turkey dinner tomorrow. We're doing standing rib roast, so prime rib tomorrow, and I am actually making cornbread dressing though, so because I have to have some dressing on the side. And all I can think about, Doc, is last year talking about Carolyn, your sister's dressing, and what made it so wonderful. So
it's good. I'll tell you, it's good, and it's I think it's my mother's recipe.
I am looking forward to being able to meet with her and pick her brain about how to be a better cook.
I know it. I told her just drop it in the mailbox, and they'll find it and send it to her. Preferably a box, but if just spatula or two.
Scoop would be good.
Right.
On the dry ice.
Okay.
So
that wine is really opening up.
We have a question from Debbie Watson.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Wants to know if this wine is available in the marketplace or just the winery.
We had the Prairie Rotie out at some restaurants. I don't know if it's in any bottle shops or not. I know David had put it out there. Our sales manager had put it out there at a few places, but I don't think it's widely available out in the marketplace today.
But I'll tell you, our overnight is so efficient and so cheap, isn't it? If you can get anybody at the winery to answer the phone, then you can put in an order. They're busy.
What?
I know that.
Wow.
Look, as often as we can.
Look, looks like, hey, Kaylin, looks like we have a new volunteer for Monday through Friday on the phones.
I can forward one of my lines to you.
Attach it to cell phone.
It'll be fine. It'll go straight to your cell phone. It'll be so casual. Every single morning when I come into the winery, after I've cleared my phone, when I leave, I walk into nearly 100 missed calls. And it is just people calling between, the hours that we are closed.
Yeah.
And the one additional hour before we arrive. And so I would be happy to share them with you.
On the brighter side, Carolyn just sent her recipe. One pan of buttermilk biscuits, 1 pan of cornbread, 1/2 stalk of celery, a bunch of scallions, 2 eggs, stock for the turkey, seasoned with marjoram, oregano, pepper to smell, to taste. That's it. And it's fabulous. And then cook it in the turkey.
What to taste? What was the last thing? Seasoned to what was taste?
Seasoned with marjoram, oregano, and pepper.
Pepper to taste.
A lovely, simple recipe.
Yeah. Okay.
It is good. Boy. Maybe a little parsley also.
Buttermilk biscuits.
Yeah.
I like
that. My brother Robert is over the top with those, I'll tell you. Wonderful.
I made a double batch of cornbread from scratch this week, and then let it go stale, and then cubed it up, and then I slow toasted it. So I'm ready to make stuffing tomorrow.
This wine, John, is whoosh. I mean, way to go.
I think this will be the wine I enjoy tonight as I prepare for my everything tomorrow.
right on.
Wow.
So we're on the Petite Sirah.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, did I just freeze?
yeah, just a
Are we
second.
moving on to the? Yeah. Are
Oh.
we moving on to the Petite Sirah?
2018. Okay. Mm,
Wow.
boy.
Yeah. It's just
My
that.
goodness.
Oh, the depth.
Here's another wine that, you know, Bobby has such a good palate. All three of these would be wonderful.
Mm.
You know, this one is just as good. It's so different.
Yeah. This is the prime rib wine.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So, oh, brilliant.
Oh. I could just smell this all night long. Just,
Right.
Yeah. So it's a vast majority of the estate vineyard, not enough to make it estate. And then the last 10% of it's from Talent Vineyards. So,
Nice.
so Drew has a little bit of Petite Sirah in here.
You know, Bobby, Wendell Smith said he's coming to Fredericksburg to get some white wing. And
Yes,
I was thinking a good white wing would also be with turkey. Kind of a white Bordeaux.
Mhm.
I would agree. Yeah. No, 100%.
Well, yeah, the latest white wing too is has got a great herbal edge to it. So it's got some nice lemongrass in there. But this Petite Sirah, what do you get, Kaylin?
Well, I mean, maybe a bit of plum,
Mhm.
blue fruits, black fruits, so blueberries, blackberries, things in that realm. Maybe some cocoa, maybe a little floral edge on that. And I'm going to go in the realm of purple. Safe. That's a safe zone for me.
The realm of purple.
Yeah. Yes. I feel like you can smell certain flowers and colors if you're not sure the name of them. Purple flowers. But also I pick up a bit of baking spice, maybe it's some sort of green herbaceous note. I don't know if I want to call it sage, and I don't know if I'm just thinking of sage because I'm thinking of cornbread stuffing and things of that nature at this time. But I'm also picking up a bit of vanilla and cocoa, and I think it's just absolutely beautiful. And it's been a while since I've tried this wine, and I was a bit afraid it would be super tannic, maybe bordering on astringent, and it's not. It's big, it's bold, but it's not. It doesn't require food to be able to enjoy it, which I think is something very pleasant because Petite Sirah can get a little big, in my opinion.
Yes.
This is fantastic.
This smells all like the saddle John just won in Houston. Before anyone sits on it. I mean, you know, it's a different story.
Right. Yeah. So,
Freshly tooled leather.
pre-worked in.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had a few people sitting on saddles this weekend at the winery, and
Yeah.
it's always a fun time. You have to tell adults, you cannot sit here. Please refrain.
Saddles and lions.
It's nice to be able to have a plural for saddles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like one summer when I was, what was I was probably trying to finish my MA in English, and I was going to go to start to medical school, and we had no money. We lived in a little town in the Rockies, and you're called Uray, named for a Ute chief. And I tried to I finally found a job taking people on high country saddle rides, and it was called Clancy Fleetwood's high country saddle rides. So my job was to get maybe 10 or 12 people who probably hadn't ridden much, get their horses saddled up, get them cinched good so they wouldn't fall off, and then take them for a 2 or 3 hour trip up little tiny road paths through the Ouray Mountains and the Rockies and near Red Mountain Pass. And so I have spent a lot of time putting saddles on and off, putting various types of lotions on the saddle to preserve the leather. And it's and here's the aromatic right here.
You were up in Ouray in Red Mountain Pass. When was this?
Pardon?
You're right.
When were you up there doing that?
Gosh, what year was that? That probably would have been about 66 or 7, somewhere in there. 67, 68. Yeah.
So just after the Civil War ended?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm reading a biography of Robert E. Lee right now that my brother gave me, Robert, which is a wonderful, wonderful read by a guy named Guelso. And politics in the 1850s very similar to what's happening right now in our country. You could take an article out of the paper from 1850 and it would run with no question in any newspaper in our country. Just slavery was the only. You have to change the word slavery. I won't tell you what it should be changed to, but probably anyway. Never mind. But that would not be wise.
Well, back to the wine.
Well, back to the wine, which brings everybody together. So
the Jolie was really good. Yeah.
I think that's great that you were.
You're right.
You were a pack. That's awesome, Doc. That's absolutely fantastic. Cowboy up in the Rockies, because
I grew up in Abilene, Texas, and I rode a horse a little bit. I mean, I was not a super horse rider. Everybody in Abilene rode horses some, but it was I needed a job, and he said, "Can you ride horses?" I said, "Sure." Can you lead people on backcountry track? Sure, let's go.
Let's make it happen.
He said, "Well,
you were a wrangler. I love it."
Everybody survives.
That's great.
Sounds like a good time.
Went very slowly. Everybody held over the saddle.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
That's fantastic.
That's so.
it was. You had to be there, sort of.
I've actually been up over Mountain Pass a few times. It's beautiful country up there, especially the hot springs outside of Ouray.
Yeah.
That area is beautiful.
So my parents came to visit, and they came
my
over,
goodness.
which has a couple 1,000-foot drops with no guardrails, and both my brother and sister were in the floorboard of the back seat. I mean, not looking out the windows. Is the report I got. I may get some text to the contrary. That was the report that I got.
Right.
And it was not inappropriate behavior, I'll tell you.
No, it's not. It's still to this day a sketchy pass to go over.
It is very sketchy.
in a
Yeah.
car.
That's
That's awesome.
that's cool.
We lived outside of Gunnison for a short period of time.
Mhm.
So between Gunnison and Cracked Butte. Yeah, no, I love going up on a string of horses with friends and going riding.
Wonderful. Can't beat it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have a horse. I had a horse that I bought off an old string. Turned out this horse used to be a cutting horse. Then it was part of a string of horses for a number of years. But she used to inflate her belly when you tried to cinch up the saddle. So you had to knee her in the gut. If you didn't, as soon as you got up, you would flip right off.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Excellent.
That's so cool.
Yeah, she did.
Reminds me of
She had all sorts of tricks. Oh, that's awesome.
That's
Oh goodness. See this. This is the reason. If nothing else, this is the reason people should enjoy a glass of wine with friends.
exactly.
You have a nice glass of wine and you learn all sorts of interesting things, like how Doc became a wrangler just after the Civil War up in Colorado.
Being about Robert E. Lee and
Yeah. Oh no.
no, this is great.
So what I do have to ask, and I don't think we ever hit upon this before, and maybe we have, and I've forgotten, which would not be the first time. But Doc, why did you decide to plant Petite Sirah on the estate?
I think I tasted it in France and liked it, and I thought I liked the body, and I think I was fascinated with Petit Verdot, with Grenache, with wines that had a lot of character, a lot of strength, a lot of fruit, and potential dark notes, and I thought it might work, and I never thought it would be this good. We didn't have you making it, John, but you know,
Well,
that's the truth.
I absolutely, yeah. Well, I've had Petite Sirah from other places in the hill country too. I mean, it grows very well here. It does a nice job. Okay, I think it's about time to get to the food portion of this show. And because I'm very hungry and I want to hear what everybody has. So the caveat is you have to choose a wine and a side dish for Thanksgiving. Okay, you've had enough time, Kaylin.
Okay, so we didn't really have a lot of traditional Thanksgivings in my house. That just wasn't the norm. So I'm going rogue. Sorry. I heard your caveat and I raised you one. I'll make my own. So I think honestly, we had discussed how you have chili night tonight. I also have chili night tonight. I think the rosé with the chili would be absolutely fantastic. That is where I think I'm going to enjoy wine with food. And then I think with the Prairie Rotie, I'll come back on course. Maybe I think it'd be yummy with pumpkin pie if you don't have it too sweet. So pumpkin pie can get if you add too much sugar, it gets a little bit out of line, but that, or maybe like a squash dish or just a sweet potato dish that's not overtly sweet, I think it would be lovely with the Prairie Rotie.
Oh yeah.
And then with the Petite Sirah, so I'm going back rogue, I'm circling back. I think it'd be lovely with some baked brie and caramelized onions and maybe like some currants or even cranberry on top. I think that would just be beautiful. I'm using cranberry because it ties back into Thanksgiving. So I'm almost in line with what you're requesting. I'm very
It doesn't have
close.
to be traditional. Yeah.
But I think that's where I would rank these all, or where I would use these all. And I like the idea of pairing a dry red wine with a semi-sweet or sweeter food pairing, just because I tend to not want to amplify sweetness on either end. And I think it would be a nice middle ground for the Prairie Rotie.
Yeah.
So there's my spiel. I'm finished, gentlemen.
That sounds lovely. I am officially now starving. Okay, Bobby, it's your turn. Wine and a side dish.
So I was thinking about a couple. With the Prairie Rotie, possibly like Brussels sprouts and bacon, like kind of a medley. With the Petite Sirah, I was noticing just kind of on the finish a little subtle hint of like cinnamon that kind of showcases. So that would go great with like a sweet potato casserole or a sweet potato pie.
Yes.
I think that would go well together.
That sounds lovely. So Doc, what do you think? Wines and side dishes for tomorrow?
Well, I think, to thinking about Thanksgiving, that both Joe and Will are direct descendants of John Chappell, who was the captain of the Speedwell, the sister ship to the Mayflower.
Wow.
I with the best judgment. And in reading books about what happened, because the Speedwell turned back, I think he got out maybe a day or two off of England and said, we're going to arrive in November, December in that part of the world. This is a bad idea. And so there was a way to overset the sails so that if you put too much sail on it, would then crank the sides of the ship and it would begin to leak.
Right.
And he turned back because his ship was taking on water. And so, and he said, I'll see you in the spring. when it came in the spring, they didn't overset the sails. They made it nicely. And so whenever I think about Thanksgiving, I think about that, and I think that I want to have turkey and dressing with all three of these. I'm just sticking with that. I mean, I think it's a heaven sent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on. Well, I couldn't agree with you more as far as the dressing and the rosé goes. One of my favorite things, I love roasted chestnuts.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
So, and I like to put them in. Yeah. So we put it in the dressing, in the cornbread dressing. We always put chestnuts in there, but there's also a chestnut glazed dessert that we do. And I think the rosé would go with that too, because it's not overly sweet, but it's so delicious. So,
oven
as
roasted.
far as the other wines, yeah. Oh, I love, yeah. Chestnuts add such a great flavor, especially if you grind them up and use them as a thickener for soup. They're just absolutely fantastic. And then there's a sweet cream pastry dessert, the French do with chestnuts. They also do a chestnut glaze, like in a sugar glaze. It's not, it sounds like it's super sweet, but it's not. There's not very much glaze on the chestnuts, and they're baked.
Wow.
Wonderful. So, and plus the chestnut tree is just a beautiful, beautiful tree. Yeah. Okay. So what do we have online for next week, Bobby?
So next week, week 87. So we've actually have an 87 after 86.
Yeah.
So we're working on gift boxes and gift box ideas and all this. So I've got 2 of one gift box and then one that's a part of another gift box. So we're going to go through the 2019 White Wing. So as we were mentioning earlier about White Wing, that's going to be tasted next week. 2017 Ranger Haze. So that one's going to be fun. And then 2012 Estate Reserve Merlot.
Good idea. Wow.
Now with the Estate Reserve Merlot, because it's got a little age on it, let it open up a little bit, kind of, decant it, give it some time. But it's tasting beautifully. So excited to get that out to you guys and share with y'all.
I was talking to Bobby about how many Tottens could there be on the planet. And in reading, one of them was a Texas Ranger who fought with John Coffey Hayes and others during that period in Texas. The other was, I'm just reading this biography of Lee, and Joseph Totten was his superior in a number of places, including when he was in Texas, and partly during the time that he was in the Mexican War. And he thought very highly of Joseph Totten. Is that name familiar to you, Bobby, or?
I know of some Tottens up in the New York area that were tied together with. There's a fort up in that area, so I'm not sure. I mean, it's
well, one of them was in the first class at West Point. That's Joseph Totten. He was in the first class, and he was Robert E. Lee's superior a number of times. Lee thought the most of it. But he said over and over. Very fair, honest guy. So a nice history they have.
That's amazing. I'm gonna have to dig into that a little bit.
Well,
all right.
That's why we gave Bobby the nickname Tater, so we can call him Tater Totten.
That's it. I've got a few other nicknames that I've grown up with. We'll share.
I hate that.
Well, on that happy, stupid note that I can't make a joke. Bobby, Kaylin, Doc, as always, I've enjoyed our hour together, and everybody out there, thank you for allowing us in your homes. But I want to wish everyone this year an extraordinarily happy Thanksgiving. I personally have lots to be thankful for. I know we all do. If you just remember 2 or 3 things tomorrow to be thankful for, may it put a smile on your face, and may you share that joy with everyone around you. So cheers.
And may you be in heaven half an hour before the devil knows you're dead. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Cheers, everyone. Happy
That was a good
Thanksgiving.
toast.
That's good. That's good.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Cheers.